it was extremely important for us to come away with a victory today. It's, as it's been well documented all week, it was extremely important for us to play well, for Leanne, for Coach John Slarman, his family, his kids, and was really proud of the team to get this victory. It wasn't easy. It was an emotional week. It's very different times for everybody. And then we've been hit with a few curveballs throughout this year, and certainly very discouraging news this week with the passing of John. So there was no getting around it. That was important to me, and it was important to our team to win for them and to honor John and the man that he was, and to continue his legacy. I felt like our team came out and we played very good football. Vandy has been much more efficient in moving the ball offensively, and they did a very good job. Certainly late. I felt like with playing in this league and the competitive games that we're in, when we were up, I believe it was 17, I felt like it was really important to get Bo in the game. And instead of going to our normal ground and pound, and, we felt like we probably could have done that, obviously, to play, series before we ripped off a big run and we're getting physical and starting to run. I just felt like it was important for our program, important to give Bo some reps and throw the ball around a little bit. We're not in that opportunity too many times. Certainly, I didn't want to get it that close, and probably would have been crucified had they gotten that onside kick and come back. But again, I want to continue to push push the program forward. So I did feel like the game was in control. I would have liked for our backups on defense to play a little better late in that game, and for us to have to go back and put some starters back in and to try to preserve the victory. Wasn't real pleased with the end in particular defensively. But again, I felt like it was important just to get guys snaps and to throw the football and not just go in to kill the clock and ground and pound. If we would have done that, I felt like, obviously we could have, probably cut into that, the way they come back there at the end, we could have killed some more clock. So, part of that's on me, but again, in the long run, we're getting the victory and getting Bo some snaps. And then of course, getting Joey some snaps. It was important.
Okay, we'll throw it over questions first. John Hale.
Hey, Mark, can you just walk us through the tribute on the opening play, how you all came up with that, and just kind of how that developed?
Yeah, I'm really not sure. Mitch is in here and Mark Hill and Dan Breswood. So the guys just came up with it and mentioned it to me early in the week and throughout this week. And I thought it was a great idea. And the O-line had been trading off 65 and Landon was wearing it today. So, somebody in the staff here came up with the idea. And of course we all thought it was a great idea. And I have a great respect for Derek Mason and I should have said that in my opening statement. The respect I have for him and the way he coaches as well. But he immediately said, "Oh, Coach, I'll decline that," and he didn't have to. But I also want to compliment him on his team. He had quite a few opt-outs. He's got guys hurt. He's down very low. It would be very easy for them to say they're under the threshold and not play, and they continue to coach very well and scrap and play. And you have to compliment Derek for that and his staff, because that team plays hard, and we knew they would. But anyway, getting back to the question, I thought it was a good idea by somebody in our staff. I'm not sure who could get credit for that. I certainly was on board with it right away, and it was great to honor him that way.
Larry Hawk.
Yes, Mark, kind of following up with that, kind of what was your message to the team going out before the game in such an unusual situation like this? Was it kind of, what did you share with them?
Yeah, it was different. Certainly there was a lot of conversation that I'd like to keep in the locker room. A lot of that's personal, but the bottom, line is to honor John by playing the way he, coached, the way he lived his life. And, we constantly talked about the tenacity that he had, the toughness that he had, but also when he was a player, he was extremely technical and very detailed. And so we knew we would be emotional. but I also really wanted to execute. And really, I felt like offensively, we really played pretty sharp and did, had 460 yards on only 55 plays. So we're very explosive and efficient offensively. Had we played a little better defensively, I really thought we could have done, kept on getting some points on there, and it would have been a much greater margin for the victory. But really, that was a big part of it, for John, just to honor him and wanted to make sure that Leanne and their kids had a game ball with a W on it. We didn't want to give them a game ball with a loss, and it's important for us to bring that to them and to do that for them.
Josh Moore?
Hey, Mark. Terry was very efficient today, and especially hitting those, those touchdowns to across the middle there to the tight ends. Well, I think one of them was across the middle. I think one of them was maybe in the corner. But those guys, just how important was it to get those guys involved and Terry comfortable, going back out there after being off a few weeks?
I thought it was very important just in general offensively. I felt like we were very efficient today throwing the ball, and I felt like we could have been even more efficient. Again, I put that on the defense. I feel like, if we didn't let them possess the ball the entire second half, we could have got a lot more opportunities and kept on throwing it around a little bit, and we're very efficient in keeping people off balance, and we're going to need that moving forward.
John Clay?
Mark, talking about the defense, I know you won't know for sure till you look at the video, but anything in particular stick out to you there?
It just seemed like to me that it was one of those games where they wanted everybody else to make the play, not them. That's just how I felt. I don't know. We'll see. I'm sure there's some guys that played very hard, but to me, we were just out there oozing, just lining up, expecting somebody to make a call for them to stop somebody instead of making plays and trying to stop people. What there was evident, we made very few competitive plays.
John Hale?
Mark, 308 rushing yards, no sacks allowed. I'm not sure Chris was even touched on that 74-yard touchdown run. What does it say about your offensive line, the way they played today, given everything they've gone through this week?
Yeah, and being down Luke and being down Kenneth as well, so we had backup stepping in and really playing well. I know it was important to those guys to play well. There was no doubt in my mind. It was important to all of us, but certainly that group, it's personal. And they wanted to honor John and to play a very tough physical game like the way Coach Slarman lived, and they did that.
John Long?
Hey, Mark, you had both your punter and your kicker out, and yet Chance comes in and he's perfect, and Colin did a great job. When did they know they were getting the start? And can you just talk about their performance today?
Yeah, we knew for a couple days, and I was very proud of those guys, the way they stepped in and really did a good job in the kicking game. Chance was really solid, and, we did a great job in the punt game as well. So it was good.
Larry Bob?
Mark, it almost looked like, at least to me watching Terry, that was like the 2018 Terry, making the decisions he did, showing the speed he did. Is that a fair observation, or?
I agree with you. I felt like this was the Terry that I expect him to play each and every week. Again, I think that has a lot to do with the people around him and the coaching and putting him in a position to be successful. But yes, I thought he played it very well, and he was very efficient. And let me say, I'm proud of him in the way he responded, because that position is different. Let's just be honest. It is. There's so much scrutiny. There's so much pressure on that position, and you have to play well at that position to be successful. And there's times when it all comes down on him, and there's times that it's deserving, and there's times that it's not. But he didn't look for an opportunity to run and hide. He took that criticism, he took the coaching, and he got better. And I really respect the way he responded and the way he came back and played. Now we expect him to do that every week. And, that's the standard which we need him to play at, and, across the board.
Gary Graves,
Mark, you have liberty to talk about the absences of Matt and Max, just the reason for their absences and other players?
I mean, you could probably read between the lines. I mean, I can't comment on that.
Yeah. Just wanted to hear.
Yeah. Tony cut you off, not me.
Gary, I cut you off, my fault. Do you have anything else? Is that it, Gary? Okay. John Hale?
Mark, the SEC announced yesterday that I think moving forward until Monday, you might not know who you're going to play on Saturdays for the rest of the season. Just what does that do for preparation, and how do you kind of approach these last 3 weeks?
Well, there's things that we're going to do every week and that carry over. We do advanced scouting on our opponents anyway and watch them and cross over and on film. So we'll make it work. Whatever we have to do, we'll do it. And, that's the approach we've taken all year. I really respect our players and our staff, and they've done a really good job of trying to stay as safe as they can. Our team is responding and we'll show up. We'll be there next Saturday, wherever they tell us to play.
Larry Hall?
Mark, is there anything in the next few days you and your team plan to do for Leanne and the family? And is there anything UK fans can do that you would encourage them to do?
Can I comment on that? Or you? Yeah. So yes, Leanne and the family have a service that'll be private on Monday, and then there will be a memorial here this afternoon or in the afternoon on Monday afternoon. And is that? I mean, it's not open to the public. For the team and for Leanne and her family and alumni, John's friends. John knows so many people. There's, all ex-players. There's so many people that played with John, that coached with John, all his different stops. So you can imagine there's an awful lot of people that want to come pay their respects to Leanne and to John. And so we will do that on Monday.
Thank you.
Okay, we got time for two more. John Clay?
And I know Leanne had mentioned to me that John was very close to a lot of you media as well. And so I'd like to stay in my lane, that, but I also know that Leanne personally said, involved some media, I believe, as well, maybe not to film everything or anything like that, but just for you to pay your respects as well. Because I know many of you were close to John.
Mark, you talked about that it wasn't just Terry, it was the players around Terry. I know you put a lot of emphasis on working on the passing game over the last 2 weeks. How do you think the receivers did today?
I thought they did a good job. I really do. And I felt like there was a lot more plays out there. I'm disappointed. We had only 55 plays again, but we did have 458 yards, which is great. Very explosive. I wish we'd have had more opportunities. And again, that comes back to defense getting off the field and giving us some more opportunities and letting those guys have a little bit of fun because they've worked extremely hard. I felt like they've been working hard, and I felt like we could have continued to be a little more efficient in throwing the ball. But, there's also, that fine line again, winning. And, again, that's why I did that with 7.5 minutes left or whatever it was. Normally we could go right into we're as good a 4-minute offensive team as most people because we're extremely efficient at running the ball and get creative in sets and can, pound the ball and use it up clock and get some first downs. But again, I just felt like for the growth of the program, it was important to throw the ball around a little bit and made it a little closer than I wanted to. That's for sure.
Bonnie Demery?
Excuse me. Mark, a lot of people have they view Chris Rodriguez as an inside runner, a guy that gets the tough yards, makes something out of nothing. A lot of times when the nothing's there, he's just that kind of. But how pleasing was to you today to see him break out?
Well, I mean, doesn't surprise me. You know, we feel like he's a complete back. He gets very tough yards, but he also can be explosive, and so it's good for him to get some big plays.
Okay, our last question with Coach Stoops is Gary Gray. Gary?
Hey, Mark, just talk about Chris's performance and, just the way he's running right now. Just seems to be on a roll right now.
Well, I'm just looking at his stats there, and I guess I can't argue with you there. He had 11.5 yards per carry. That's pretty impressive. I agree. It's not surprising to us. We have great confidence in him. We have confidence in our other backs. And, again, there's only 55 snaps there, but, we were very explosive. Again, darn near 460 for 55. And I wish we could have got some more. I wish we could have got some more possessions. And that comes down to getting some better stops defensively, certainly in the second half.
Okay, folks, thank you very much.